morning, good day, pre-algebra. Yes, James, you may leave if you want to.
Wait, should I say my pass?
You can go down to Mrs. Nelson's office and have a chat with her if you don't want to be here.
I'll stay.
You'll stay. Aiden?
No.
Not now. Start to teach. Okay, so then we'll get through this quickly so we can go. So the third method that we have for us here is a multiplication method. We've gone through fractions, gone through percentages. For the review on those, you can check your notes, or you can check the video from yesterday. Make sure you like and subscribe. Aiden.
Why do you say my name?
Because your hand was up in the air.
No, like before you said James.
Because his name's Aiden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. And so the multiplication method, let's go back to what we were solving. It was 30% of 20, right? Is that what it was? Yeah, 30% of 20. I didn't show you the multiplication method yesterday because this is the method that most people gravitate towards because it's the least amount of work. But what it requires is it actually requires the use of decimals, right? So for this one, we use fractions. This one, we use percentages. The third thing that we converted to was decimals, and that's what the multiplication method surrounds itself around. So 30% as a decimal is what? 8.3. So, and how you get there, remember, is moving that decimal point over to the left 2 spots, and that gives you 0.30, or just 0.3 of 20. Now, here's the thing with the multiplication method. Most of us probably don't know what 0.3 times 20 is, because remember the word of means that you can multiply. However, why math is so much fun is that moving a decimal over twice in one value is the same thing as moving the decimal over once in both values. And what you get as a result, instead of 0.3, you get 3.0. And instead of 20, you get 2.0. And of course, 3.0 is just the same as 3. 2.0 is the same as 2. The word of means to multiply. What's 3 times 2? 6. Which you already know the answer is because we've done it twice already before. Okay? Now, showing that much work isn't necessary. I was showing you the math behind the math. On the next one, which is 90% of 30, if you can mentally move that decimal over to the left one place in each of them, and mentally visualize that as 9 times 3, 9 times 3 is 27, which you already know is the answer. We've done it twice before. Okay? The mental method, this multiplication method, is really, really nice because especially with decimals and values that end in zeros, it's really just taking the first number of each of them and multiplying them together is all it is. The math behind it is what I showed you here. It's moving the decimal. But if you can mentally visualize 9 times 3, 3 times 2, you can get your answer very, very quickly. Even the last one, which is 15% of 40. Okay? These don't both end in a 0, so it's a little bit more complicated. But we can still do the same thing. Move that decimal over one spot in each of them. And instead of 15, we get 1.5. And instead of 40, we get 4. And 1.5 times 4 means you want 1 whole 4 and half of a second 4, which is a total of 6, right? 4 plus 2. So this one might not be as clean to do because they both don't end in a 0, but maybe you want to convert this 1.5 to 3 halves, multiply by 4 over 1, get the 6 that way, whatever you want to do, okay? But especially if they both end in a 0, it works out pretty slim. Questions on that multiplication method? Okay, so I'm going to...
Kevin.
Yes, what? Oh, yeah, question, go ahead.
Why did you show us the thingy then? We could just do the multiplying or whatever.
Because then no one ever tries these. They always do this one. And these just get completely forgotten. Exactly. That's why I didn't show it to you until today, so you at least had to try these, and now you can use this one.
That's a
Okay?
shot.
That is great teaching strategy right there. Right? So now,
You wasted a class.
going down here,
Okay, we don't need to read
6 times 4
Kevin,
is how you can get 24 very easily. 7 times 9 is how you get 63 very easily. 2 times 6 is how you can get 12 very easily.
We wasted our time.
The last one, again, they both don't end in a 0, so it's a little bit more complicated. But 3.5 times 5 means you need 3 whole 5s and half of another one. So essentially 3 whole 5s and then half of a 4th 5. That's how you get 17.5 there. So it doesn't work quite as cleanly if they both don't end in a 0. But if they do, gosh, your life is great, isn't it? Look at that.
Look at what you did to yourself.
I did myself.
You
wasted our class.
I didn't waste class.
Yes, you did.
But now you know more than one method. Now you've been exposed.
You just telling us how wasting class.
Exactly, but
not
yeah, like
Okay,
that would have been so much.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like people.
I got all
I'm
the answers wrong.
This is like vanilla ice cream here, right? This is like Rocky Road and peanut butter swirl and peppermint bonbon. Like if all you do is always vanilla, you never get to experience the spice of life.
Yeah, no.
Who doesn't like
Are we getting the right answers? That's all that matters.
Gigi? Yeah.
This is useless.
You want to go over it? Okay.
You're useless, teacher.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. You are quiet. 20% of 110. It says find the following values. Show your work. I don't care which method that you use, as long as you are showing the work. Am I being too loud? Sorry, I get excited. Don't just put the answer down. Okay, but tell me how you get there. So for this one, if you want to use the multiplication method, right? This was the math behind the math. Essentially what you're doing is you're moving the decimal one spot to the left in each of them. So 20 becomes 2.0 or just 2. 110 becomes 11.0 or just 11. And so the calculation that you do using the multiplication method is 2 times 11. Essentially, if you want to think about it another way, if they both end in a 0, just cancel that 0 out. Because that's what happens when you have 2.0 and 11.0. The zeros don't have to be there, and you're left with 2 times 11. Okay, 45% of 90. If you want to try the multiplication method, it does end in a 5, so it's a little bit more complicated.
Okay,
You
let's
can do
move
it.
on.
90% of 30, and then 55% of 60. Whatever method that you use, work must be shown.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, don't know how to do what?
Was there for a reason?
Like if there's a 5. Oh, wait.
But again, you don't have to use the multiplication method.
No,
right?
I get it. We're gonna use the. I get it.
Now on your test, remember you will not be able to use a calculator on this objective. Okay? So if you are using a calculator to calculate these or the 4.5 or whatever it is, you're not going to have that advantage on the test.
You can't do it without a calculator.
So maybe you go to fractions or percentages instead.
Can us do more work, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
No. If you know your multiplication facts well, then you can do this mentally. If you don't, then you have
Oh, I
other
see
options.
what you're saying.
Harrison.
I just want to say, like, if there was a whole bunch of you and you were all cockroaches and you were just going around saying random math stuff, I would, like, get, like, a steamroller and flatten you because you're uglier than a cockroach. Why? Why?
He's the only
cockroach.
That's an odd color. That homework.
Why?
Okay, your homework, yes.
For lit, are people staying inside or not?
Let's save the door decoration for during lit time.
So
You're not gonna have enough time during lunch. That's only
We're
15
not.
minutes. Yeah,
staying
no,
inside at all.
we'll do during lit tomorrow
You
after
don't have
after the big one.
That's what you say?
For the door
It's gonna
decoration.
take a long time.
It's like
Okay.
you're wearing purple.
Folks,
Out of Vikings.
hey, 3, 2, 1. Quiet, here we go. Your homework, the rest of the page, you've got those 4 there. You need to find the values, whatever method that you use. Hey, James, whatever method that you use, show your work. That's the important piece. Then the brain buster here, it says find 70% of 30 and then find 30% of 70. Explain why they are the same. After a nice evening out with your family, you offer to pay the bill for dinner. The bill is $60 and you leave a tip of $9. Was that $9 a 10%, 15%, or 20% tip? And explain how you found it. Yes.
I think it would be 10.
Well, you can explain why you think it is 10.
No, I have the answer.
No.
James?
What?
I think it's 15.
Why do you think it's
Because there's
15?
there's 3 numbers, right? So there's a 33% chance to get it right. That's pretty high.
Sure.
So if I guess,
Yeah.
I can guess 15, then I can say my reason is because I have a 30% chance of getting it right.
Right.
So that's a quality answer.
No.
Right?
Right.
7 times
Okay.
3. Hang on, what's 7?
We're on
Oh.
this one here. Okay. And then down here, estimate the following values. You can do this by rounding the percentage to the nearest 10. So for example, 21% of 30. If we're just interested in estimating, 21% is kind of a difficult percentage to work with. What would be an easier percentage, Olivia? 20%. You can calculate 20% of 30. 37% of 80, 37%, not very friendly. We could round that to 40%. And find 40% of 80. Much, much easier, especially now they both end in zeros. So that multiplication method is very versatile, right? If you do need to calculate 37% of 80, if you're just interested in kind of a ballpark value, you can round that to 40% and then use the multiplication method to find it mentally, right? I will stress, again, please show your work. You cannot just put 6 down here as an answer. You need to show me what you are rounding to, okay? 20% of 30, 6, excellent, right? The bottom part says write a percentage statement that equals the given value. For example, if the given value is 15, you might write 30% of 50. Because 3 times 5, again, working with that multiplication method, 3 times 5 equals 15. So for 30, what are 2 numbers that multiply to make 30?
15 times 2.
15 times 2, which means you could have 20% of 150. Because you would move that decimal over and take 2 times 15 to get 30. What else could you have? What else multiplies to make 30?
10 times 3.
10 times 3?
No.
So you could potentially do 30% of 100, because if you multiply, cancel out those 2 zeros, 3 times 10 equals 30. What else multiplies to make 30?
50% of 60.
Sure, 5 times 6. 50% of 60. Cancel out the zeros, you are multiplying 5 times 6 to get 30. You could even reverse that and take 60% of 50. This also takes 5 times 6 if you cancel out the zeros using the multiplication trick, right? So these answers, there are a lot of different answers that you could have, but essentially you're looking for factors of whatever this number is to use in your percentage statement. Lucy.
If a question says explain, you have to actually explain it.
In either work or words, yes.
I don't like
My
that.
answer's so correct.
I know.
If it's a test, why are you making us do this?
You don't have to show
This
your work
is
on a test
So then why are you making us do it on here?
because it's practice.
Practice.
So what does
Test.
practice do?
But we're not showing it on the test.
Correct. Because by then,
So
hopefully
why
you know
do
it
you
well
have to
enough
do
where you
it?
don't have to show it. Because when you go over assignments, if you have work shown, it's a lot easier to see where mistakes might have been made. So that it's not like I don't understand anything, so I messed up in this step.
So when
When
do I
you
mistake?
make mistakes, which we all do, okay, being able to identify what that mistake was, and so we know where to look and what to fix. That's how we ultimately learn and get better.
You touched his computer.
I did.
Practice.
I can't even read my work.
Well,
And what's the point of showing
right meter. I don't know what to tell you. Jillian,
Just do my
Two things.
answer.
1, you're wearing a purple shirt for the Vikings.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
2, my sheet is on the floor, and I had it in a pile, and I'm disappointed in you.
Well, your feet are on my desk near my pile. You probably kicked it out.
No, I didn't.
not
It was
your
there when
desk.
I walked in.
No, you can.
Bad boy.
All right. Anything else from PO23?
No.
This is due tomorrow. A reminder, you do not have con this week. Friday will be a retake day. And so be prepared for that.
Do it con next week.
You will have con. I'll sign it Friday for those that don't want to do retakes, but it won't be due until after Christmas break. It's in like 3 weeks.
This is wrong.
Why do you do that?
Yeah.
Just sign it after. It just makes it more
Just
complicated.
just do
Mr.
2.
Schultz.
No, do 2 assignments in 2 days, on Monday and Tuesday. Because 3 weeks, I'm gonna forget about that. That's the next day. Because I have Christmas break.
Hey. Now you may have. All right, folks. That's how math.
Like,